episode of the Power Podcast. Tonight we're talking about WWE RAW from August 8th, 2016. Let's jump right into it. So we start off the night with, we do like a recap. I almost feel like I was watching a soap opera. Last time on The Bold and the Beautiful. And then kind of recapped all the matches and all the things that kind of went on last week. It's kind of a newer thing. They usually do that before a match or build up to a storyline, but they kind of recap most of the important stuff from last week. Not sure if I'm too hot on that, but we'll see how it goes. It might grow on you. It's one of those things. So we got Enzo and Cass coming out to the ring first, and we get the Enzo nonstop talking for a while. Like, these guys are funny for a couple minutes, but like I said, there's too much talking. It should be more wrestling, not so much talking. He went on about what happened last week with him and Sasha Banks and the flirting and all that fun stuff. Jericho comes out with his, good God, it's a porn stash. It's a porn stash. That's all I can call it. He comes out. Kevin Owens comes out. They go on about how they're Canadian brothers and, you know, they got each other's back. And then Enzo and Cass kind of made some jokes about it, like Ernie and Bert in the bathtub kind of jokes. I got to say, though, Kevin Owens is fantastic on the mic, and he's just going to get better. This guy he's got main event status all over him. No, he's just fantastic on the mic, in the ring. He's well-rounded. He's got what it takes to go to the top. I can see why they've kind of got him in a mid card, because he elevates anybody he wrestles with. So, kudos to him. So anyways, these guys went on for 20 minutes of talking. So, like I said, there's no need for 20 minutes. This could have been a 5, even 10-minute most banter, but we get this 20 minutes of talking before we get into the first match, which was Jericho versus Enzo. That one, it wasn't a bad match. It was okay. It was nothing special. I would have preferred to see Kevin Owens in the ring with Enzo, but the Jericho and Enzo kind of have the beef, so that's why they were together. Anyways, KO distracts Enzo. Jericho hits the code breaker. Then Cass gets in the ring and boots Chris. So it's an automatic disqualification. So your winner by disqualification is Chris Jericho. So then, as they're leaving the ring, Cass and Enzo challenge Jericho and Kevin Owens to a match at SummerSlam. So they accept. And it's funny because then Cass does his spelling of soft, S-A-W-F-T, sorry. And they pan back to Kevin Owens, and he's like, "That's not how you spell it." I just cracked up. I thought that was pretty funny. So then we get Mick Foley backstage. Sasha Banks shows up. And what it turns out to be is they're going to have Sasha versus Dana Brooke tonight. If Sasha can win, then Dana Brooke won't be allowed at ringside at SummerSlam when Charlotte gets her rematch with Sasha. So we'll see what happens there. Oh, and this other thing was, if she loses to Dana Brooke tonight, it'll become a handicap match at SummerSlam, but we'll see what happens, like I said. Match number 2, we get Braun Strowman versus Jarrell Nelson, I believe his name was. Anyways, we get another one of these Saxton interviews in the back. Oh, what are you doing this match for? The guy doesn't have an answer. He's all scared. Goes out to the ring. Braun Strowman squashes him in 3 moves. I don't know what they're doing with this. He's a dominant wrestler. He's a big guy. Why are you wasting him on little tiny guys that are like a third his size and weight? Doesn't make sense. They can put him in like I said, give him the Mark Henry. Let them have a match. Then we get a Mick Foley and Puff Daddy and New Day thing in the background. There was some kind of D's Nuts jokes made, and I just kind of... And Mick going, you can't say that. Nah, it was kind of a waste. I didn't really pay attention much. Match number 3, Darren Young and Titus O'Neil. And then we get a little recap from last week with those guys. Match wasn't bad. It was kind of a little bit back and forth, not like last week where Titus kind of dominated. It was a little back and forth this week. But anyways, Young goes off the top rope, gets caught by Titus. Titus looks like he's going to do like a running power slam, but Darren Young kind of rolls off him and then rolls him up and pulls the tights and gets the win. Now, it's all fine and dandy, but Bob Backlund, they show in the replay, he wasn't paying attention, so he didn't see that Darren cheated. So we know that's going to play out next week. He's going to give him crap for doing that. So we'll see what happens there. Then we get Seth Rollins coming out to the ring. He's taking shots at Balor, making fun of where his name comes from. It's like 8 or 9 minutes about why he doesn't like Finn Balor or doesn't have respect for him. And I'm like, again, this is a waste of time. Like, he could have done it in 3 or 4 minutes. But, we're going 10 minutes for this. It was just ridiculous. And he's dressed like he's going to wrestle, but he didn't wrestle. So I was kind of disappointed in that tonight as well. Match number 4, we have Sheamus versus Cesaro. So these guys had a match last week, and Cesaro won after he hit the Gotch neutralizer. So, and I said before, Sheamus put on a hell of a good match last week. So we'll see what happens here. So they went back and forth. It was a good match. It was like watching a couple brawlers, but with some good moves in there. Like I said, Sheamus, I wasn't a big fan of his, but he put on a really good match. I thought he did a really good job tonight. So what happens in this one is Cesaro throws Sheamus into the corner. There's a bit of a ref bump, not a big ref bump, but anyways, Sheamus rolls up Cesaro, but the ref had a little bit of a bump, so he wasn't paying attention. Sheamus easily had a 3 count there. He goes and grabs the ref and goes, "Hey, I'm trying to pin this guy." Cesaro turns around, rolls him up, and gets the 1, 2, 3. So Sheamus is pretty pissed off about that. So you just know somewhere down the line this is going to play out again. So we'll see. We get an Orton and Lesnar montage. There's really no reason for these guys to be fighting. They're like, 15 years in the making. They kind of came in around the same time, but they've kind of gone on 2 different paths. They really have had no beef. There's no reason. Hey, but I'm not complaining. I want to see the match. It's actually going to be pretty good. I think it'll be a decent match. Like I said, we just get a montage of both of them yappering about each other. So nothing really accomplished there. Match number 5, we get the Dudley Boys versus Neville and Sin Cara. Apparently there was a Raw pre-show thing with Neville and the Dudley Boys, which wish they would have showed that earlier. We get like a quick clip of it, but anyhow. It was kind of like a Sin Cara getting thrown around match until Neville jumped in for about a minute, and he hits the shooting star corkscrew on Devon, gets the pin, 1, 2, 3. It's an amazing move, that thing. Watching it in slow motion, I'm like, this guy is the guy that defies gravity. So they got the right name for him. Let's see what we got next. Then we get the Rusev and Lana celebration of their marriage. Just like, I was dreading this part of the show. And yeah, it went on for a while. Rusev finally insults the crowd a few times, and that brings Roman Reigns out to the ring. He's offering to give him a toast, pour them a drink and give him a toast. And Rusev's kind of like, get out of here. This is our time. And anyways, so Roman has a drink. And then he says, you know what? I'm going to toast you anyways. And he says something about, it's nice to see a Bulgarian Sasquatch and a mail order bride get married. So I actually laughed at that. And I got to say, Roman Reigns was actually pretty funny on the mic tonight. I think when he had that 30 days off, I think he sat in front of a mirror and started practicing his spiels. Like, he did pretty good tonight on the mic. Crowd didn't really boo him much. They were kind of behind him tonight. I know it's kind of like the Bulgarian versus USA kind of thing. But no, they usually boo the hell out of this guy, but he's improved on the mic. He's not talking as much as, he tried before. He's just saying what he's got to say, and that's it. None of this going on for a while stuff. It's just boom, boom. And he was kind of funny tonight, so I enjoyed it. And I don't mind the guy as a wrestler anyways. He's good in the ring. He had some good matches with Rollins and AJ, and I enjoyed it. Anyways, Rusev and Reigns get into a punching match, and Reigns punches Rusev. He bumps into Lana. Lana falls into the cake. She starts screaming. Reigns walks away laughing. I'm like, it was funny. It went way too long, but I thought it was not that bad. It probably could have been cut down to about 7 minutes, but they went over 10 minutes easily. Backstage, we get Mick Foley again, and he's talking with Rusev, and Rusev wants to fight with Reigns, so he says they're going to have a match at SummerSlam, and the title's going to be on the line. So, but Rusev didn't accept. Reigns challenged him when he came out earlier, but now he wants a match. It's kind of weird. I don't know. Anyways, match number 6, we got Sasha versus Dana Brooke. I'm going to say this, Dana Brooke is very sloppy in the ring. She's not very graceful. I know she's just been called up, but not that graceful to watch. Not like watching Sasha and Charlotte. They're both very good together. But Dana Brooke is very sloppy. Anyways, there was a spot where Dana had Sasha on the ropes, and Charlotte was supposed to slap. You tell she's supposed to slap Sasha and accidentally hit Dana, but there was like a stutter step, and Sasha had already pulled away. And Charlotte hadn't committed to the slap yet. So there was like this 3-4 second odd delay. And then she slapped Dana where she clearly wouldn't have had to. It was cringeworthy, very cringeworthy. I'm starting to get the use of that word now. I'm understanding it, hearing all these kids. Hey man, I'm in my 40s. I'm learning these things. Anyways, so then Sasha climbs to the top rope, hits the double knees, and gets the win. So Dana Brooke will not be allowed at ringside for their match at SummerSlam. Next, we get a Finn Balor skit where he's kind of going off about Seth Rollins. And it's only about a 3 or 4 minute thing. And he kind of explains where his name comes from, whereas Seth was making fun of it before. It's not his real name and blah, it means this and this. Finn goes over what everything means. And he's got the Irish heritage and he's got the mythology behind the names. And it was pretty cool. I kind of felt like I learned something. And I like the guy anyway, so it didn't bother me. Then we get an Anderson and Gallows skit. Now, I'm going to say this is probably the funniest moment of the night. They're both dressed as doctors, and they're kind of like talking like they smashed Big E's balls into the ring post last week, so Big E's not there. So, but Anderson and Gallows say there's a new thing going around in wrestling, and it's ring postitis, and the side effects cause nausea and this and this and this, and then they show some things of Big E getting his balls squished into the post. And then Anderson holds up a jar with a couple of eggs referring to the balls. And then they make these jokes about, we performed surgery on Big E and it was nuts. And then Anderson, what did he say? Oh, I bawled my eyes out. And then Gallows says, oh, well, it made me testy. There's all these ball references, and I was getting a kick out of it. I'm like, that was the theme of the night. Like they did a Mick Foley thing earlier, and they're talking about these nuts and balls, and I'm like, you guys are getting out of your PG comfort zone. But anyhow, I thought it was funny, and at least it didn't go for 5 minutes. It went about 2-3 minutes at the most with this whole doctor skit. So match 7, we got Kofi Kingston versus Gallows. It was almost a squash match, which I was kind of surprised. I'm like, I'm hoping they're going to put the titles on the club at SummerSlam. Like, they got to do it. But anyways, Anderson distracts Kofi. Gallows gives Kofi a punch. He's outside on the ring apron. He lifts him over the ropes, kind of gives him a reverse flapjack, I call it, and gets the win. It wasn't a very long match at all. Anyways, they were going to give Kofi the ball squisher to the ring post, but Xavier regained himself and came running made the save. So we'll see those guys at SummerSlam. Anyhow, then we got a little Goldust R-Truth Scooby-Doo promo with the Mystery Machine in the background. There's a Scooby-Doo movie coming out. I think Michael Cole and maybe Sheamus have voiceovers in it or something, but anyhow. Then we get Mick Foley in the ring. He invites Daniel Bryan out. They banter back and forth about Lesnar and Orton showing up on each other's shows and apologizing, yada yada. Rusev comes out and he's backing up Mick Foley. Then Cesaro comes out and he's kind of like, well, hey, I earned my shot at a title here. Are you not a man of your word, Mick Foley? And he's like, okay, well, you can fight Rusev tonight. So next up, we get a match. We get Rusev versus Cesaro with Rusev's title on the line. Not a bad match. This is Cesaro's second match of the night. This one had a few more uppercuts. The first match with Sheamus only had maybe 10 uppercuts. This one had about 30, close to 25, 30, somewhere in there. Anyways, it was pretty good. Back and forth. Rusev went for the accolade once, and Cesaro kind of just powered and stood straight up with him, which is kind of cool. This guy's super strong. I know they help each other up with the moves, but he does a lot of the straight up power moves on these people. Cesaro slapped on the sharpshooter at one point, and then Sheamus came out to the ring. Rusev gives, when he got distracted, Rusev gives a super kick to Cesaro, but only gets a 2 count. Then there's a ref bump into Sheamus. And then Cesaro hits the Gotch neutralizer, but the ref is out because he got bumped. When the ref kind of comes to, but Cesaro gets a 2 count on that one. And then as he goes to pick up Rusev, Rusev gives a thumb to the eye of Cesaro. He falls to the bottom rope, gets a kick in the head by Sheamus, and then Rusev gives him another kick to the head. And Rusev, and still your United States champion. So that's how we end the night. Then as Rusev's walking up the walkway, Roman Reigns comes out of nowhere and gives him a spear. I think Rusev turned about 2 seconds too early because he's turned around and he stood there with his eyes wide open. It felt like a few seconds too long to get down there. But anyhow, the show ended. It was not a bad show. It wasn't a great show. I'd actually say the Cesaro-Sheamus match stole the night. That would be my match of the night. They both worked really hard in that match. But there was way too much. There was probably close to 40 minutes in talking tonight. And you got a 3-hour show that went 3 hours and 13 minutes. There's no need for that. They could have just got rid of some of that talking. You don't need to open your show with 20 minutes of talking. It's just ridiculous. You're losing me. You're making me snooze. And like, you're getting your eight matches, but the quality matches are not that great. With the Braun Strowman match was brutal. Like, we don't need those anymore. Give us something else. But anyhow, overall, out of a 10, I'd probably say it was about a 6.5. I just feel that some of these matches they were boring, and I felt it was like I was forced to watch something, and I'm like, oh, I was hoping something would happen with these matches, but overall, the show was okay. Since the brand split, I haven't been overly impressed. So we'll see what happens tomorrow on SmackDown. I'm hoping for maybe an AJ Styles match for once. That'd be nice. That's it. As I said, wasn't a bad show. It wasn't a great show. It was so-so. The SummerSlam matches don't look too bad on paper, so we'll see what happens. Well, until next time, stay tuned.